Greetings and salutations, listeners. I, Eric J. Chucci, joined as always by my fellow creative superstar, The Boy.
Hey.
And this is the Two Nerds Podcast. Before we get into this week's topic, check out all those links in the description. You can buy my books. You can follow us on Twitter. You can go to the Super Blizzard Shining Wasato Bandcamp page, buy up all of his music. You can also go to Steam and buy Joylancer. That'd make him smile. Because he gives us our theme music and pretty much all the music I use for this channel. So go ahead and do all that shit. We really appreciate it. This week, we are talking about a video game.
Surprise, surprise. Instead of some sort of weird nerd pop culture bit, we're actually talking about video games.
A wrestling video game. So,
it's like
six of one, half a dozen of another.
I mean, yeah, it's the intersection of both halves of this podcast.
Boy has a bit of a sore throat, so if he sounds unnecessarily sexy, that is the reason. So, we've played it a lot since Tuesday. Neither of us have gotten into the Steve Austin mode.
And to be honest, as much as I love Stone Cold Steve Austin, as you know, listener, I probably won't. I've never been much for the career modes of these games. They never really draw me in.
Well, it's to be mentioned that there's a career mode and then there's like a showcase mode or some shit, and that's what all the Steve Austin stuff is. Career mode's like a rising up from the bottom for your creator wrestler, but we'll come back to that a little later. 2K13, 14, whichever one had the Attitude Era. I like that one. I actually beat that one. I started to get into the one that was like WrestleMania history, but there was like a match that was really hard, and I said, fuck it. We didn't play 2K15, and that's probably worth mentioning as well. We were all set to do that. I mean, in the past, we did like, roster announcement, coverage. Like, we were very hyped for the games, but when they transitioned to the next gen, they lost enough features in that first transition that neither of us were
interested at all, so we just didn't buy the game.
There was stuff that still sounded good, but it was like, I don't know if that's worth. So we waited a year, because it usually takes them a couple years to get off the ground anyway. This year had enough stuff and enough cool shit that we were like, okay, yeah, let's give this a shot. We were all both pretty hyped, but
Yep. Mostly what we do, I believe we mentioned this before, is we make creator wrestlers and wrestle with dudes from various e-feds that we make. This time we did spend a day or 2 days playing with the actual roster because we wanted to play the game.
Yeah, instead of just launching right in. Because, like, typically when we get the game, we'll launch in and I'll fuck around in the creative thing and end up making a hobo character named Homeless Frank. But Homeless Frank ended up with a very specific look, and it sort of took away from the freedom of just slapping random shit on a guy.
Because that's why he made that character first, to try out the new creative suite. But, we've played a good bit of the game now. It's not a perfect game.
I never expect a WWE release to be a perfect game.
No, because it's got the Madden curse. It's a yearly release. There's only so much they can do. But it is good. I like some of the changes. I like a lot of the changes they've made. They make it feel more like a wrestling match. They slow down the pace quite a bit from the previous games that we played.
There is an adjustment period to that, because sometimes, probably not from last year. Last year was probably still
something like this.
But
we're speaking from the year before. That's our reference of experience. Now that you know that, moving on.
Yeah, that was like almost an arcade style compared to the slower pace of this. So you start out your first couple of matches and you're like, oh my god, move across the fucking ring. Get where you're going, you slow motherfucker.
And your first couple matches, when you're halfway through the match and you guys have hit each other with a bunch of moves, and you are, like you would be, dead. You're a dead person. Even when you get up, you move slower, you don't run as fast.
Which is cool, because, in previous games, when you would hit somebody with a finisher or launch them off the cell or whatever, and they just get back up and everything's fine. That takes away a lot of the drama of the match. This year, there's a lot of visual indicators, even like early to midway through the match. If you've taken a beating, your dude will like crawl toward the ropes to use them to help get himself up.
And sometimes it lets you crawl around whatever direction you want, and you have to like crawl towards the ropes. It's great.
Yeah. So a lot of that conveyance of, the match drama, the simulation aspect of the WWE games is a lot more present in this iteration. There's something else I really liked. The way the new reversal system works, where you only have so many reversals to use, and a lot of shit you can turn off in the options menu. We haven't yet. I don't know if we ever will. But submission mechanic might get turned off here real fucking soon. It's still frustrating, huh?
Yeah.
I noticed you got a hell of a lot better at the pins, though, man. You hit some fucking tiny wedge pins that I couldn't have hit.
I don't like being bad at video games.
I kind of have to live with it. If any of you have seen my gameplay on this channel, but you only have so many stocked reversals. And you have to, spend part of that stock. It regenerates over time. They
regenerate pretty quick, honestly.
Yeah, fairly quick. It depends on your stats.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, having made a couple great wrestlers now, I made some who, for the sake of being similar to the characters, don't have a lot of reversals. That is such a huge fucking handicap that it begins to, I wonder if it wouldn't be better to just go in and max out reversals on all my dudes and all your dudes, because having, if you have 3 reversals, one of the characters I made Diamond, and then someone you're facing has 5, you're just at a severe handicap.
Well, where the balance comes in is, I've noticed the attributes this year seem to feel like they mean a lot more, and they have expanded them.
Yeah, they're very specific.
There used to be 8 to 12, and now there's 20-some, and it's just short of becoming overwhelming to allocate your attributes.
And it's deep enough that allows you to make some really meaningful choices.
Yeah.
For instance, one of the other guys I made is normally very a fast, strong dude. I slowed him down a little bit to give him more power. And
because we're not the guys who just max out all of the attributes and go, cool, my guy's done, he's the best.
Because that doesn't... Look, if I wanted to fucking wrestle John Cena versus other John Cena, I could find a way to do that. I don't need that. If I'm gonna make a dude, I want him to be I want him to have a style.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, you're not always gonna be controlling these characters. Sometimes they're gonna be the computer. And it seems like the computer takes into account what the character's attributes are and changes their wrestling style accordingly, which is super nice.
Oh, they do. They always have, but it's so much more specific now that their style feels a lot more individual. I have I have a lot of characters who excel in a hardcore environment, and I got in a match with one of them, and the first fucking thing he did was throw me out of the rope so he could beat me outside the ring.
Because he has an ability that gives him a damage boost if he's outside the ring. It's actually really cool. And the character of mine doesn't know what a kick is. He's a boxer, so his leg power is just shit. He has no leg power. Now, there are obviously a couple kick moves in his moveset, because I haven't gone through and tweaked it individually, and even then, there's some times when it's just not an option. You have to use a kick there, or some other similar thing. He just doesn't do those moves. He just waits. He just waits for you to get up so he can punch your face more.
Yeah. I also enjoy the fact that a lot of the stuff that used to be manual last year is automatic. It took me a second to understand that, because we spent some time looking for the how do I drag this motherfucker elsewhere to the ring button. But that just happens now. If you're about to... I'm not sure how. I know when they're standing up you can.
No. If they're laying down, you just press both triggers.
Oh, it's that still?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
It's more finicky now.
Good to know. But if you try to pin a guy and you're in the ropes, and I think it's dependent on a stat. If a stat is high enough, your dude will be like, nope, too smart for that, and drag him away before pinning him. Or doing a submission or what have you. If you need some extra room before a suplex occurs or something, I'd say 8 to 9 times out of 10, they will sort of pull the grapple toward the center of the ring, so they have that room. And it feels really natural, and it also keeps you guessing, because a lot of those animations, after you've seen them time and time again, you're like, okay, I know that this is a reversal, I know that I didn't really do the move, blah, 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 get it over with. But here, because sometimes you just fucking move places, you don't know. And it keeps you kind of like interested and engaged in the match and not bored with it.
Obviously, like, the creation suite itself is pretty good. There are some things that are missing that I lament, mostly pieces for wrestlers that I like making, that they're missing, important parts of, but those will come in as they have more games on this system.
Yeah, I think, like, cool teeth and cool eyes were something that was missing this year. And usually their first couple iterations on a new system, they're missing shit like that.
Mm-hmm. It's minor stuff.
Yeah.
There's one really, really big thing that's missing that does still irk me quite a bit, but it's not the game's fault. For a very brief, all too brief, magical time, you could import through one of several different really pain-in-the-ass means, or in one game, the easiest, most beautiful thing ever, you could either directly connect your the music files for like entrance music and stuff to your computer and just run playlists off that. That was beautiful. Then they killed that, but you could still do it off the Xbox. So through a couple different means, for what is it, like 4 games? 4
or 5.
Yeah.
I mean, basically the 360's life cycle.
We were able to give characters, creative wrestlers, which again is mostly what we use, music from whatever music we had available to us, and which is great because we make a lot of EFED characters and they have very specific theme music.
And it would also allow us to like chop the music up in an audio editor so that it started up at a certain time.
Literally the same audio editor we used for this podcast.
Yeah. It was really nice, but now that the next gen systems, specifically the Xbox One, is what we use. Now that they don't do that, they don't have access to music on the system like that, and they don't connect to your PC wirelessly to read music like that. There's just no way for the company to be able to give you access to that.
Because the console itself won't do it. And that was one of honestly, personally, that was one of the big reasons I wasn't interested last year, because they took that away and it didn't have a bunch of stuff. Now they still don't have that, but they had all the other stuff they had was enough to bring me in. But
I mean, there's still some stuff they're missing, and there's one big thing that I'm sad about, but it was technically never a feature.
Yeah, that's true.
The WWE games, for those of you who don't know or have forgotten or don't care, you cannot wrestle women versus men.
Like, it's just not a thing. There used to be intergender tag team matches you could. I don't know if you can now, but you used to be able to do that. But if your male wrestler hit the female wrestler, they would be disqualified. Which
is basically because the WWE, in whatever capacity,
doesn't want to get sued.
Yeah, markets to children and doesn't want to get sued by angry moms who are like, "You're teaching my son bad habits of women beating." All right, whatever. But we EFED, and we're very equal opportunity EFED people.
Yeah.
So the women wrestle the men and win the titles and all that shit. And it gets really frustrating when we can't.
We can't represent that in the game that we play for them.
Especially with, a lot of the characters we create and really like are female. On the last couple of, even this year, I think, on the 360, there was somebody who hacked a game file that, without changing their appearance, had the game recognize female wrestlers as male wrestlers. The announcers would call at them like they were dudes, and the game would recognize them as dudes for the ability to put them in matches. They would still be lady-shaped and have access to all the lady parts.
But they used the lady... Essentially, it was a dude wrestler who used the lady model in the creator wrestler suite.
Yeah.
Which is perfect. Which is all I want. Because then I can make a wrestler, like one of my female wrestlers' heart, I can make her, and then she can wrestle the dudes, and it makes it... How to put this? More immersive, I think. Because it's more representative of the stories that we tend to tell when we're telling wrestling stories.
Yeah. And it like diminishes the amount of roster overlap when we play universe mode, which we also haven't fired up yet because I've heard there's a bug where you can't use custom titles or set custom title matches or something.
It's that you can't set title matches. That you have to wait for the game to do a title match. And
well, that's not so bad. We're not really the ones who like we use universe mode as more of an XP for. All right, Booker Man.
Somebody else booked this.
Yeah, we'll just play it. So that's not so bad. Maybe I'll spend some time making some creator wrestlers so we can dive into that.
Besides the custom title feature this year's ass.
Yeah, they like added it in, but it's so fucking bare bones. They're like, you like custom titles, right? Here it is. I mean, technically, if you made like the nameplate and all that shit on your computer, yeah, and that's the technicality in a lot of places because, like, you know, there's certain everything in the creation suite for a wrestler is 3D now. Your elbow pads, your arm bands, your tights.
It exists, it's not just a pattern, it exists in the world.
Sometimes there's point values assigned to it. Not all of those things have a point value. They're small enough that it's negligible. But, you know, you do still have visible physical straps if you have on a onesie. Because of that, a lot of the layering options we had in 2K14 are not available.
Because you would look like a giant, you'd look like you were in 3 parkas because of all the layers you're wearing. So
yeah.
They just don't do it.
That happens sometimes when I put a coat on my wrestler for their entrance and they're wearing a belt. It's like they've got this big bubble around their hips. But, so, you know, that's missing, but technically you can make logos on your computer, use the WWE servers to upload those logos now from your computer.
That is one thing that, you know what, the WWE giveth with one hand and taketh away with the other. Because, again, the music thing wasn't their fault, but it still isn't in the game. But on the other hand, I can use very specific, like, logos and shit that my wrestlers have. Some of which originally came from the game, but are no longer in it. The internal symbols, like the internal stuff they have for you to use as like logos for wrestlers, much smaller now. I assume because they figured they don't need it, if someone wants a logo, they can just upload it and then download it. It's incredibly easy to do.
Yeah.
It's incredibly easy, and it's allowed to use some very specific symbols that wrestlers use, and for the universe mode, we made a little, an icon for the wrestling federation we're gonna be, and it's in the game now. It's just in the game, and it's there, and we can use it for stuff.
Yep, we can slap it on t-shirts, slap it in the middle of the ring, whatever. Doesn't matter. We can do it. Create an entrance is also greatly improved, for a couple of reasons. Now, one thing that I'm slightly less fond of is the fact that there's no longer cuts to the audience between
the various pieces.
Yeah, between certain pieces, because that allowed you to use other wrestlers' entrance parts
more easily.
Yeah, and now if you, like, say, move from a guy who is running to a guy who is walking slowly, during certain transition phases, before, that would be fine, because it would cut to the audience and cut back to the wrestler, and you'd be like, he slowed down in the interim. But now, he, like, suddenly stops, teleports 5 feet, and is just slowly walking toward the ring.
It makes it harder to jam different parts of entrances together, but the various other parts of the create entrance thing are much smoother now.
Yeah,
and much more. You can be very specific with things and the timing of things.
You can change the timing of lighting. You can manipulate the timeline of the entrance while you're applying things. So, say your character uses the Undertaker's entrance, and you want to start a pyro at the beginning of his entrance, but because the entrance automatically plays in the background, in order for you to set that pyro, you have to wait for it to go all the way through the Undertaker, walking his big fat dead ass down to the ring. No. Hit RB, it goes back to the beginning of the entrance segment, and you just put the pyro there. And then you can move it from there. And
if you know that you want to put it halfway through, you can fast forward to get about that point, slow down, and place it where you need it. You can edit where it's been placed after it's placed. All the accoutrement around the creative entrance thing. Again, if I had the ability to give them their actual theme music, I would be in love with this creative entrance.
Yeah, I mean, it's really good. You can also finally do multiple pyros, so a motherfucker can have smoke all around the ring through their entire entrance. But you can do multiple pyros in a single frame of entrance piece. You can do multiple series of lighting. I've got one that, not unlike Finn Balor, the lights go from like dead orange to flashing orange when he does a certain gesture.
It's actually really cool. It's very customizable and very cool. Create a moveset hasn't really changed.
No, they changed where certain things are, and they have these new things called abilities. And before it was like attributes and abilities, now it's skills, attributes, and abilities.
And skills don't add to your point total, it's just stuff your wrestler can do or not do. Abilities do add to your point total. So that makes a really nice trade-off. If you want a guy who can do like 1,000,001 little things around the ring, his stats have to be worse if you don't want him to have like a 100 stat bonus.
Yeah, there is a lot of balancing there, and that's good because in previous years, like, oh, my wrestler is an 80, so is my wrestler. My wrestler has no abilities. Mine has 5. Let's fight. It is perfectly even. Shut up.
Whereas now it's represented. Like, I gave one dude immovable object, the 3rd level of it. So sometimes when, the person fighting him, computer or white, hits him with a big move, he just doesn't go down. He just no-sells it. That's an ability in the game.
Yeah, which is really
that
cool.
Jumped his point total up by like 5.
But skills are like, they don't really have much consequence. The things like being able to make combo strike attacks and having a secondary finisher.
They can make some consequence, but like it's mostly either like stylistic stuff. Like if you want to make someone who's very much a striker, you can give them the combo strikes. Otherwise, they only have like 2. They only do like 2 strikes, and then they repeat those two strikes. So if you want to make someone who's more varied in their striking, you can do that, and it's very easy. Fired Up is one I would say that is, like, I don't actually give it to that many people, even though it doesn't add to the point total. It's actually very powerful, because it allows you to store, instead of, I think, 1 finisher, it allows you to store 3.
I think it might be good from 2 to 3, but yeah. I usually give it to guys who are main event caliber. I made ear bunnies around that. Ear bunnies? Air bunnies. I
might go in and do that too, because it's worth doing, but it's very much a powerful ability that doesn't really impact the score total, and the other powerful abilities do now. And there's some really cool ones too, like rope breaking is an ability. That's neat.
Yeah, they'll automatically rope break depending on things. And ironically, I like the first level of rope break because abilities come in 3 levels.
And the 3rd level isn't always the best. It
is with like everything except for rope break.
No. It's different. For instance, the 3rd level of rope break really incentivizes you to do it after 1 on 2. On the second count, after the second count, it incentivizes you to do it then, because it's an activated ability. Because it gives you a huge bonus to your stamina, and also the 3rd level has a really, really high chance that the referee won't see it if you do it on the first one. Whereas the first level of rope break doesn't really give you much of a boost if you do it on the second level, but also has an incredibly low chance the referee will miss it if you do it on the first. It's a trade-off.
Yeah.
The 3rd level's high risk, high reward. The first level is low risk, just the regular reward.
I like that one. Pretty much all of my guys have that one. I don't think I have anyone who has low enough ring awareness as a character that they wouldn't rope break. But, you could conceivably do that.
I have a bunch of characters who don't have it just because it costs points.
Sure.
And I wanted to use the points for their stats.
Yeah, I get that. And I mean, that leads me back into the actual in-game. The referee can miss your rope breaks now. And that sucks, but, like, also it's awesome.
It really is.
There's also you mentioned finishers, storing 3 finishers. I've never had more than 1 finisher sitting in my inventory, as it were. And I should, because this game really rewards you more for beating the shit out of your opponent. Before, in previous games, it was like, oh, I lose this and that if I don't do my finisher immediately when I get it. But now it's like, if you want to give your match that big send-off and you don't want to have to hit your finisher 3 times and, make it look lame, you want to wait. You want to hang on to it until you have beaten the shit out of your opponent. Then you nail him with your finisher.
For instance, I was doing a match between a character he made and a character I made, and because I used my finisher every time I got it, it took, I'm not shitting you, and we have turned the power of the finishers in the settings all the way up, as high as it goes. It took 4 of his primary finishers and then 2 more of this guy's secondary finishers to put the other character down. It really does incentivize you to beat the holy bejesus out of your opponent before you try a finisher. Also, just a bit of advice for anyone who's thinking about getting this game. Before you even wrestle a fucking match, go in to the settings and turn finisher reversals down.
Yeah, because the computer just unerringly reversed our finishers for a while. We were like, please let us fix that, and then we did, and it's a lot better
I
now.
assume the mechanic is in there because they want you to have to bait out all your opponent's reversals and
Sure.
then do your finisher while they don't have an option to reverse it.
Yeah.
But that's really hard to do, and me baiting out and getting my ass kicked 5 separate occasions.
Well, and delightfully, we're still on normal difficulty. And just the way the match flows back and forth with that reversal system, sometimes we're feeling like, oh god, we're gonna die, we got our asses kicked, this match is over, I can't believe this. And, that's just normal.
Yeah, and normally with these games up until now, it's been, 3 matches, and then we just jack the difficulty all the way up to Legendary?
We laugh and go, no, this is dumb. But now that
normally
we've got so much...
2 matches, and then we go, oh shit, we forgot to turn on Legendary, that's why we're curb stomping these guys.
There's so much more to keep track of. Submissions as well.
I hate that new fucking submissions mechanic. No joke, I hate it.
He's speaking of the cat and mouse one. I don't think you have any problem with the rest hold one.
You know what? I don't know that
That's the one where you gotta find the hotspot.
Oh, I think we've only seen that once.
It's what they used to use for the ladder matches to get your title. I mean, they might still. We just have to play the ladder match. Okay.
I've played one. It's sort of the same thing. No, it's just the ladder match is just you wait and then you pull down.
Oh, okay.
This one, yeah, I remember you had to find the hotspot. I think we've done 2 of those. None of our wrestlers have rest holds.
They don't come up as much as the power, submissions. But it's basically a little cat and mouse game, and you really have to work the body, especially with other submissions, before you apply your finisher submission. If you're playing Chris Jericho and you want to use the walls of Jericho, you need to
fucking beat their legs up.
No,
it's a body.
Yeah. You want to beat up their body, and you want to get them rough, and you even want to slap a couple of working submissions on there, low-level, non-finisher submissions, before you hit that wall of Jericho.
Try and soften them up. And it's really cool, but even with a character who has the high, his submissions bar is all the way up, a bunch of his moves are leg-based moves. I went into his moveset and tweaked it so it was. He has a leg-based submissions finisher. I have beaten this character up. Their legs were as red as they go. I apply my finisher, and then it's just me chasing this motherfucker in a circle. I hate that cat and mouse thing so much. It's not a good mechanic. And I'm going to try and get better at it. I'm trying to, we've had the game for a week. I'm going to try and give it the benefit of the doubt and keep trying until I either get it or it has been enough time that I can definitively say it's a shitty mechanic. But right now, leaning towards just a shitty mechanic.
For me, it's whatever. It's different. The old version of the submissions where it was button mashing was,
Yeah, that's not a great mechanic either, but the amount of ridiculous bullshit frustration in literally every time I apply a submission, it's just me chasing this other douchebag in a circle. Doesn't matter if I press the little button to boost it and make it go faster. Doesn't matter if I don't. Doesn't matter if I hold still. Doesn't matter if I try and change directions. It's just, round we go. Where we stop, nobody knows.
I will say I appreciate how, not all the time when you end a finish or a submission rather, and don't make them submit, does it cause them to do a reversal on you? Because in 2K14, that was the case. Unless you cut it off early when your submission was over,
and you lost momentum for doing it.
Yeah, if they didn't tap out, you lost momentum, and they got to do a move to you.
And if you cut it off early, you lost more momentum.
Yeah. So there was no incentive to be doing your submissions on people early. Now, if you didn't do very well and it's early in the match, they might reverse you at the end of it. But if you did okay and you're a little later, mid-match, then you just pull off of them all right, I'm done doing that submission. This is clearly going nowhere.
And speaking from experience, because I'm awful with this mechanic, if it's late game and they're fucked up and you inevitably fail because the mechanic's awful, you just it doesn't punish you. It doesn't punish you even if you're incredibly shitty, even if you don't do well at all. You just let go.
Yeah. So that's nice. That's a nice change. Seems like there was something else in the main like gameplay that's different that I really liked. I'm sure it'll come to me. Comebacks are a little less obtuse now. They're still the same, like, Simon game, but it's just less. It doesn't take up so much of the match. It's not like, fucking comeback time! You know, it's not super cinematic. It's
there, though.
Yeah.
Also, they seem less... hitting them is no longer just, the match is now fucking over.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you can come back and it gives you a chance, but, like, the rest of the match is so well balanced that it's not...
It's not, I hit my comeback, I did it, so now I have my specials, so now I can my signature, so I can just signature, finisher, done. There's a lot more balance to it this time, which is nice. I haven't tried, because I went and gave the guys who have comeback moves, I wanted to try and see if they still have that thing where if you have a comeback, but you don't have a comeback move assigned, pressing the button just does your comeback.
Yeah, it just gives you a finisher?
Yeah.
Does it still work?
I haven't tried it. I kind of want to.
No, I mean, we've been singing a lot of praises, but there is some stuff to gripe about.
We've been mixing it in there.
Yeah. It's not as glitchy as some years. For example, the Royal Rumble works just fine.
Whereas for like the last 2 games, the Royal Rumble has been... Oh, not the last 2. The last 2 we played. The Royal Rumble has been just fucking broken. Just didn't work.
Either your music would just keep playing the entire Rumble, or 2K14, sometimes you just didn't get to come back.
You got eliminated once, and then like 12, 13 dudes later, you get a magical chance to come back in, or just not at all.
Now it works just fine, and you can even, like, set the number you come in on. That's kind of nice. So if you want to, like, oh, God, I gotta go take a piss, you know, you can be like, I'll come in 30, fuck it. So that's nice. We really like playing Royal Rumble matches because we make a lot of creative dudes, and that's cool. They upped the number of creator wrestler slots to 100, which is great because last year it was like 20.
And we laughed and went, nope.
And of course, Creative Diva is actually in the game, whereas it was not last year.
Not that we're going to use it, I imagine.
I mean, I probably will, but because we have 100 fucking slots, so it's not going to hurt me to have a ladies. But I don't imagine we're going to be playing too many matches with them because we can only fight them against other ladies. It severely diminishes the number of different matches and feuds and stuff that can occur. But I digress. Previous Xbox 360 games, you could have, your individual wrestler had 4 outfits. Now it's down to 2. Which isn't a huge deal, but it's worth mentioning.
Yeah, and again, there's only like 1 or 2 wrestlers I have that is annoying to me.
Yeah, like the guys who, like, Chris Jericho or Ultimo Dragon style, who have, like, a bunch of different colored outfits of the same basic shape. You know, it's like, oh man, now there's not as much variance in what my guy looks like. But there were also dudes that I made in, 2K14 that I was like, okay, I made outfit 1.
Fuck, now what do I do?
Yeah, what happens now?
I usually ended up giving them like a referee outfit.
Yeah.
For if they were, because they had special referee matches in that one.
If you're doing a custom outfit for a wrestler, like I tried to make one for DDP, that shares space with your Creator Wrestler 100.
Which isn't a bad thing, because, I mean, there's 100 slots, we're probably not going to fill them, to be honest.
Well, and I mean, after a certain point, we're not touching the main roster again. I still think I've got a couple of matches left in me to just try out. There's a couple of guys I wanted to play that I haven't. Like, playing Bray Wyatt was just a trip, man. He felt like Bray Wyatt.
He wrestles like Bray Wyatt. It's really cool. I want to try Seth Rollins.
Yeah, there's still a couple of matches I have in me that I want to try, but, after a certain point, it's going to be like, fuck it. I want to play my guy. So it's not like I need to make a bunch of cool outfits. And I understand why they did it. Having 100 individual creator wrestlers with only 2 outfits apiece is way better than having 20 wrestlers with 2 outfits apiece or 4 outfits apiece. That's
It's still better to have the more slots, because if I really, really, really want those other outfits, I just copy the superstar, paste them over to the new thing, and make other outfits.
Yeah, it's not a huge deal. So that's...
Another glitch that's gone. Copying a superstar and moving them no longer deletes the moves from them.
Yeah, I've done a lot of testing around with that. That was a problem throughout pretty much the entire 360 era. We found workarounds for it, but what it was is if you copied an attire or copied... No, it was if you copied the attire after you set the moves. And didn't do a certain thing first, like play a match or something, it would erase your wrestler's moves and entrance. Anything other than their creator wrestler, like, physically. I don't remember why. I used to know, like, it had something to do with writing the save to a certain place, but whatever, it doesn't fucking do it at all now, and that's nice. The call system is better, like the announcer names.
Slightly. They took some stuff out that I miss.
I liked that I used to be able to cobble together names out of random letters. Like, you know, your wrestler, Mr. Intensity. We used Mr., the letter N, the number 10, City. Mr. N10 City.
And it made the announcer sound a bit slow, but ultimately it sounded really cool.
But at the same time, they use those names in, like, Cole, King, and JBL's commentary, too. So I see why they couldn't do that. Because, like, I have a character named Ghostly Warrior. I had to go with Ghost Lee Warren. So they usually call him Warren. And I don't know if they mention, and you know, Lee's doing a good job here. Well, okay, that's not his name, but I see what you're going for there. I get why they couldn't do it, but it is missed to be able to do that because some of your guys have to settle for, like...
Maniac.
Yeah. The angry fellow.
One other thing that I want to bitch about, and this is genuinely just bitching, the announcers are really shitty catty assholes this year.
Oh my god. Like, I'm glad they recorded so much more dialogue, I am, but like the stuff they replaced it with, because in career mode, and probably in the Austin mode too, your matches are rated based on their entertainment level, and so if you use the same move a bunch, that decreases your rating. So the announcers give you an audio cue to let you know, hey, motherfucker, don't use that move so much. But
Mix it up, get a better score.
When you're not in career mode, it's just Michael Cole and King being fucking assholes. Like, a guy's on the ground, I'm stomping him. Boy, he sure does like that move. Sure does use that move enough. Tired of seeing that move. Boo. You suck!
It gets like that bad.
Yeah, they're like really mean. It's like, fuck you, man, you're not playing, alright? You're not in the ring. You don't know.
Why wouldn't I stomp them here? They're on the ground, you stomp them once and then do a move. It's free damage. Well, fuck you.
I don't know. There will probably come a point where we're like, fuck this, mute, turn off announcers, tired of your shit. But,
honestly, turn off announcers will happen.
Yeah.
I'm growing rapidly tired of Cole criticizing me, my match style.
Like, it's League of Legends shit. Like, you're already having a bad time, you know, you're having a rough match, and then Cole's like, you suck.
Hey, fuck you, Cole. I thought you turned face.
That's what they should have done. It should have just been like JBL. Like, I'm tired of seeing that move.
You know what? No, I'd take it if it's from JBL.
Yeah.
If JBL was the official fuck you, you're using that move too much guy, if it was always from him, I'd take it. I really would. Because
he does that on the show.
He does. It's in character. It's not in character for King to say shit like that. No.
But there was a couple weeks ago where he was just like, man, he botched that one. He's just fucked that one up.
It was.
Good work, asshole.
There was a match, I don't think it was this most recent pay-per-view, but it was some recent one that I watched, so it might have been a while, where he just straight up called the match Bowling Shoe Ugly.
Well, JR used to do that all the time, but...
he did it stealthy. He'd like, this match has some bowling shoe tendencies.
Yeah.
He would do it all stealthy. JBL just went, this match was Bowling Shoe Ugly. This was terrible. Just straight up.
Well, and JR used to use it to talk about like a hardcore match or one that's a slugfest or something. No, JBL's like, this is stupid. This is a duty pile of shit and I hate it.
To be fair, it was a fucking ugly match if memory serves.
You know, I think would be also awesome if your wrestler has like low enough attributes. If Michael Cole would mention how much they like to have fun, which is near as I can tell WWE code for this guy sucks.
Look at him! Look how terrible he is! Holy shit!
Oh man, because it's what he says about the Dudleys all the time. So I have to assume. Not a good comeback.
No, that threatens to derail right there.
Yeah, that does. I'm just like,
boy, they gas out fast. Anyway,
look, when the New Age Outlaws, including Billy Gunn, had a better comeback, and I love Billy Gunn, but I know the man's limitation. When they had a better comeback than you, you fucked up. You done fucked up, son.
Like, to be absolutely fair, they're booked against the New Day. And the New Day's the best thing in pro wrestling right now.
Oh my god, the New Day makes me want to watch week to week. But we digress. Back to the game.
Kind of want to play a match as the New Day.
Yeah.
Clap on someone's.
Shout out to Up Up Down Down. Doing what we do, but better.
Yeah.
It's fun to see big burly motherfuckers crouch to try to fit in the little face cam screen. Both of us are here.
It's fun to see Rusev kick ass at Street Fighter. That was pretty great.
Did he use Zangief?
No, he uses Akuma.
I am disappointed.
He uses Akuma.
Oh, well, okay, because he's OP. I see. I can't.
Much like Rusev.
Yeah. Fucking Rusev. Alright, there are also certain parts in the creative suite that have been marked as like entrance only now. And again, I get it. They are 9.9 times out of 10 shit that would be knocked off through the course of the match. Or stuff that is going to clip. Like, the clipping is so much lower this year.
It's very minimal. It's nice.
Sometimes the hair does if it's really long and your guy's really beefy. Sometimes a garment will do that if you, like, try to layer a bunch of shit on top of each other. Usually it's when you're doing shit you shouldn't do.
but honestly, it is very much better. Because previously, in like every game that we played before this, your hair just existed in another dimension because it would just go right through your shoulders.
And coats were that bad too. Either they were stapled to your legs or they like swooshed in and out of them. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that's really negative to say about this game that we haven't touched on other than the last match we played?
Whew, no. I think we should talk about that last match.
This will be our closer. Good God. So, we've played a bunch. Like a lot of matches.
Like a bunch of different types, and they've all worked pretty well.
Yeah.
Again, before we do this closer, because it's a negative story, I do want to mention, we like this game a lot.
Oh, yeah. I don't do game ratings.
Me neither.
I guess...
as wiser men than me of assigning a number value to the quality of the game really boils down your opinion as such that it becomes basically unusable and not useful anymore.
Well, and as has also been mentioned, you can't say that all games are created equal and thus can be rated on the same scale. So, I mean, like, how does one compare this shit to Five Nights at Freddy's?
They're not comparable. It's about as comparable as a, like, novel and then a really good movie.
Or both, even a comic book.
Yeah, both might be good, but they're not the same fucking thing.
Like, even when wrestling shows, we like do a letter grade. I don't even feel comfortable doing that here. If you like WWE and you want to make the upgrade to the current gen, this is a fine time to do it. If you want to wait till next year, you're short on funds or whatever, then wait. It's not going to kill you.
I'm more comfortable doing like number and letter grades for movies and television than I am for games for some reason.
They're a lot more comparable, but like and we're kind of getting off topic here, but I'm sure you don't give a shit, listener. Like you said, the reason we're not doing a top 10 comedy movies list is because you didn't really feel comfortable rating comedies. But the whole reason we were separating comedies in the first place is, how the fuck do you put a comedy? How do you compare that to, like, even Guardians of the Galaxy, which is a funny movie, but...
Not a comedy.
It's not a comedy. Like, it's way more awesome than a comedy, but that's not fair, because a comedy's not supposed to be awesome. You know, it's a different fucking scale. Now you can rate other comedies against each other, and obviously everybody's personal opinion is intrinsic to the value of that rating, but you're coming to us, so it stands to reason you care about our personal opinions.
But anyway.
Anyway.
This match, bro.
It's a tornado tag team match, Extreme Rules. Like, simple as dirt. We'd played regular tag team matches before. I don't think we'd done a tornado.
No.
There is not really enough room in the ring for a tornado tag team match.
There's enough room in the ring for like a 6-man one-on-one match.
Sure.
But specifically the tornado tag team match, the game's coding does not handle that well.
Well, like, the targeting is not as good this year as it was in 2K14. Like, 2K14, if I listed in the direction of the wrestler I wanted to attack, it would go, oh, we're gonna fuck up that guy. But now I have to, like, make it very clear. And even then, sometimes it's like, you sure you didn't want the dude across the ring? Because, I mean, he's over there.
And we tried changing it to manual, and not only is manual incredibly, like, it jerks you right out of the flow of the game. It makes the game, it pulls me, at least, right out of the game. It's also not good. Like, it's just bad. You can click a little thing that's supposed to change targeting. Sometimes it just fucking doesn't. So. Yeah.
So, automatic is okay. It has been worse in the WWE games. Yeah. I mean, this is like early Xbox era targeting.
Yeah, it'll get better.
Yeah. So, there's that problem. 9 times out of 10, it seems like when you attack your ally, instead you back off.
Yeah, they did a lot with that. It's less likely you're gonna, like,
do, like, a whole fucking move sequence on them.
Which is nice. But, boy, the game got very confused at certain points. There was an entire section of the match where my character's reversals, and finisher and signature just didn't work. We didn't even do that thing where it says too fast or too late to let me know that I just fucked up personally. It just wouldn't, the button wouldn't respond like I didn't press it. The thing just wasn't working.
My hair left. I mean, that's like, I was fighting a dude, and there was a period where, like, black shit flew away from us, and I was like, what the hell was that? It was my hair.
It just flew away.
Just gone. The little centerpiece was still there, but the floppity bits, they left. And I had a nice, like, Hitler Youth haircut.
Yeah, he had a full-on Hitler going.
It came back in the replays, but, like, the rest of the match, I just had a little...
there was also a period of time where I interrupted the person he was fighting with, we keep using weird pronouns because these are all characters we made, while he was trying to put his character in a submission hold, and the game did not like that because it fused their arms into a single unit, and their arms wouldn't separate. He couldn't get up anymore because his character's arm was fused.
Once the dude's arms finally separated, I still couldn't get up. Which reminds me delightfully of the first match we played as those exact same characters in 2K14. We got in the ring as these guys. They're a tag team we've had for a long time. They're very violent and they're fucking psychopaths. But we got into the match. We walked up and like it was a tornado tag match. And we beat up the other guys and like they dropped to the ground and didn't get back up.
Like we did some move and like they landed weird and they glitched through themselves sort of.
I mean, like, they settled just fine, but they were done. They stopped being existent. They were just dead-ass character models on the mat. So, we were like, we've killed them. We've killed them. We calmly exited the ring, walked back up the ramp, and restarted the match. Which, after I died, in a very similar fashion, we had to restart the match. Because I was fucking done. My controller was, like, not doing anything. My dude wasn't moving. He was dead.
Clearly dead.
The referee was just kind of staring at him like, wow.
The other character was moving just fine, but eventually, like, they ganged up on me because there was 2 of them now, and had me, and one of them, got me in a pinfall, and the referee just, like, didn't even respond to the pinfall happening. He was just staring at this dead
the dead man.
Like, why are you guys still wrestling? A man is dead! And he wouldn't count the pinfall, and because of the way the game works now, I can't get out unless he counts the pinfall. So I'm just sitting there being, like, side-humped by this character as he does the pinfall animation.
Oh my god, so much glitched out there. And, like, these were both low-stat guys, because we were just fucking around trying out our dudes. And they were kicking our asses! They were kicking our asses! I theorized it was because they took my hair. And my Samson-like strength, thus. But the funny thing is, like, I then followed that character's logic, because the reason I beat the shit out of those characters in the first time is because I dragged him outside the ring. I started fucking him up out there. This is that same character whose AI, first thing he did was drag him outside the ring. That's what I should have done in the first place, because after that, I spent, like, the last 5 minutes of the match just stomping on the motherfucker outside of the ring, and you were just finishing business inside.
Yeah, you kind of have to follow, like, if you make a character do a certain thing, you gotta fucking do that thing.
Yeah.
Because that's where they excel. One of the characters I made, that Pure Striker, he did not do well in the match when I tried to do wrestling moves, but the way I have his combo set up at the end, I specifically set it up so he doesn't knock the opponent down at the end of his combo. So the first 5 minutes, solid 3 minutes of the match I was playing with him was just me slowly beating this motherfucker's face into the ropes, and then I just pummeled him, body and head, in the ropes, and essentially rope-a-doped this dude. I just spent like 3 solid minutes just pummeling the motherfucker, and that was probably the only reason I won that match. Because gave me such a lead in the beginning. Because once it started to be actual wrestling, this character I was fighting, who's a much better wrestler than the striker I was playing, just began to fucking destroy me.
Yeah. But all in all, I would say it's a good game. If you are affluent enough that buying a game isn't like a life decision, pick it up.
Because we've been there.
Yeah, we've been there.
Sometimes we made the wrong life decision.
Oh, yes, man. Fucking Donkey Kong, man. No, it wasn't Donkey Kong. It was Super Mario RPG, and I fucking loved that game. I did. But, like, I had rented it enough that I was like 3 zones away from the final boss. So I bought it and beat the game. And then I was like, well, that was 60 of my dollars. Never gonna play this again. I feel I've made a mistake today. But if you have the kind of fun sitting around that you can just buy a video game and that's not a big deal, and you like the WWE, grab it. It's a good introduction to the new system and all that shit. If
you don't get a lot of extra scratch, or you're not a huge fan of the current WWE, maybe you like wrestling before, wait, maybe next year.
Yeah. Once they've just fixed a couple more of the systems, give the hackers some more time to hack them ladies.
But that's about it, I think.
Yeah, I think that'll do it for this week.
Everything's better when nerds talk about it.
Fuck it, let's get hardcore!